Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How you guys doing today? Good, I can only hope. So, today's show, we actually have another question. And this time they didn't want to remain anonymous. So, towards the end, we'll get to that question. And then we'll go from there. So, today's topic, I wanted to let you guys know a little bit about my current situation. In a physical realm, not so much on the emotional level, but we'll probably get to that too. So right now, as it is, I just moved back in with my mother. Oh God, it's terrible. It's killing me inside to move back in with my mom. Now, there's nothing wrong with my mother. I love her to death. She's a great woman. But in my eyes, it's not a good thing to have been out of the house for as long as I have and to move back in. To take so many steps forward, to take so many leaps and bounds in life, just to go back to where you started. That feeling, it's not that I dislike living with my mother, it's the feeling of having lost everything without actually losing everything. So yeah, it's not as bad as it could be. I haven't lost everything, so I have to move back into my mom. No, I lost my place to live, so I have to move back in with my mom. But I still have the feeling like, fuck, I just lost everything because I have to move back in with my mom. Yeah, it's a temporary situation, but it still fucking sucks. I mean, again, I have nothing against my mother. She's a wonderful woman. I have nothing against living with her. I have vacation status. Going to visit her, yeah, cool. I'll crash with you for a bit. We get along fine. But this is an unknown amount of time that I'll be here. And I don't know how I feel about that. So, first question I'm going to ask you guys is, what's your opinion with having to move back home? Go ahead and shoot me a message on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, SoundCloud, Spreaker. Give me a text if you have my number. Doesn't matter. Just, what's your opinion on having to move back home after taking so many steps forward in your life? Now, what I want to talk about, on the contrary, is the wonderful, wonderful aspects of my life. Because I talked about some of the slightly negative, and I do say slightly as a very literal term, because no, moving back in with my mom isn't a terrible, terrible thing. I've said it a million times, I'll say it a million more. It's not a terrible thing. It's just uncomfortable for me personally. But on the highly positive sides of things, once again, I took myself from a place to live, having somebody else's situation almost lose me that place, having almost having to be homeless again, and then not being homeless because I worked and 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 I worked. So the moral of that is, if you have something, it's going to go back to what I talked about yesterday. If you have something you want to do it. I told you guys yesterday that it was part of my day that I was going to not sleep until I had a place to live. Do I have a place that I want to live? No. Do I have to call my mom up fucking, what did I call her, 9 o'clock at night? Be like, hey mom, I need to know if I can crash with you until I find a better place. And, of course she's going to say yes. But you guys, I don't think you understand how hard that is for me to go back to. Not that it's hard for me to live with my mom, it's just hard for me to go back to a situation where I feel like I'm independent. Again, I've been an independent individual since I was just about 15 years old, and I've always had an independent mindset. One of these days that I get my mom and my grandma on, trust me, they'll tell you. Speaking of my grandmother, wonderful woman, Denise Braden, we're here soon. We're gonna have her on the show once a day for a week. That's the plan anyway. We don't know how it's actually going to go, because she wants to start doing a segment where she interviews me, and I'm going to have her just write down 5 questions, 7 questions, depending, and we'll do 1 a day. And then I think that might turn into a thing. I think I'm going to have somebody call me or shoot me a text or something, or actually be sitting with me, preferably, and sit there and do mini interviews with me. Just write down some questions that you want to have answered, bring them in, come talk with me, and we'll go from there. And then, of course, I'm gonna retaliate with some questions of my own, don't get me wrong. Because, I mean, yeah, this show is called My Life, Your Questions, but if I'm having somebody on the show, I want to know a little bit about their life as well. And on the note of my grandmother, this is a woman who has seen so much more than anybody else that I've ever met in her age group. So much shit. And she is such a strong woman, and she's living the life I want to live. She loves her job, only works 3 days a week, able to just drop hundreds and hundreds of dollars without feeling it, expecting no profit return on it, not caring, comfortable, enjoys what she does. And if I've said that before, I'm going to say it again. She enjoys what she does for a living. That's the life I want, guys. And that's the life I'm going to have. I'll say it once, I'll say it again, say it a million times. That is the life I am going to have. I'm going to be able to do anything I want, anytime I want, without being able to look at a price tag, or without having to look at a price tag. Because it's taken care of. Anything, all of my needs are taken care of. Any of my wants, taken care of already. Anything I want that's not already taken care of is not out of reach. That's where I want to be in life. And that's where I'm going to be in life. Now, anybody that knows how I'm going to get there already, I'm taking you with me. Anybody that doesn't, go ahead and ask. Maybe I'll shoot you a message and explain it. How can this kid be so confident? He's only 20. It doesn't matter how old you are. Confidence is confidence is confidence is confidence. I know fucking 6-year-old kids that are twice as confident as I am. Hell, when I was a 6-year-old kid, I was twice as confident as I am now. Easily twice as confident. Anyway. So, let's see, what to talk about today? Good question. Well, my goal for today, I woke up, I finished packing, I moved into my mom's house, I went to work, got here an hour and a half early. I'm gonna go through my day, end around 6 o'clock, and then probably skate home. Now, when I say skate, I don't mean that I'm a skateboarder and I go out and I do tricks and I have the skater mentality, fucking snapback, skinny jeans, and tank top. Now, I'm not a skater. I ride a skateboard. It's a mode of transportation I enjoy. Well, I had a complaint about the show yesterday. There we go. That's something we can talk about. I'm eating something that I shouldn't do on the show, which I disagree, because goddammit, if I'm eating something that's delicious when I'm talking to you guys, I'm gonna let you know. And that's just human nature. If you're enjoying something, you're gonna tell your friends about it, and that's what you guys are. You're all my friends. Anyone listening to this show, you guys are my friends. Or at least, that's how it's gonna be for the first couple of months, maybe even a year. It's probably just going to be my friends listening to this show. Anybody new coming back and listening to this for the first time? Now, I'm going to steal this from my buddy Brandon Weber, who is also a Spreaker. Go ahead and give him a follow. Eagle _talks. Brandon Weber. Great kid, 18-year-old kid, big goals in life. Great speaker. He could use some public speaking lessons just to stay on topic, but I mean, These are podcasts. These are blogs, guys. None of us are professional speakers. We're not here to talk and convey a message other than the message that we're trying to talk about in the topic at the moment. And we get off topic, obviously. I mean, I went from talking about my eating habits, which I'll get back to talking about Brandon and talking. I was talking about talking, for Christ's sake. Anyway, I'm going to do something just to kind of bug the listener that had a problem with my Snickers eating habits and the way I go. Oh, God, yeah. I'm about to eat a Snickers right now, and I'm just crushing it in my fingers because it's still a little solidified from being delicious. From being frozen. I can see the caramel and the inside of it breaking and tearing as the chocolate outside just crumbles around it and into my hand. And there's the peanuts. There we go. There's the good stuff. Cool. Oh my God. I love Snickers. They're fantastic. My weakness of weaknesses. You give me a Snickers, I will do just about anything for you. Ridiculous. Just about anything. Anyway. Oh God. I can't even continue to talk when I'm eating a Snickers. Okay. Let's get back to it. So, okay, here we go. Here's something to talk about. Something that we just got in at the smoke shop I work at is hookah liquid. E-liquid. The liquid that you put in your e-hookah. For those that don't know what an e-hookah is, it's an electronic hookah based on the design of the hookah that you use to smoke shisha, which is a syrupy tobacco, flavored tobacco. And they took this e-liquid, this nicotine and whatever flavored liquid, and you put it in the pen. You hit the button. It's a cauterizer or a press button heaty-uppy thingy. I'm not entirely sure how it works, but at least as far as the actual logistics of it, what I understand is you press this button and the battery heats up a tube on the inside that evaporates the liquid and it's drawn in through the mouthpiece. Just like a hookah. You press a button. Instead of pressing a button, you set a coal on top of the shisha and it evaporates the syrup and the tobacco into a smoke that you then draw through and filter through water and into the hose and into your mouth. And then you taste it, you exhale, you never actually fully inhale, because if you're inhaling anything, well, you're causing cancer. But I mean, they taste. They don't taste bad for sure. I have some complications with loading them because I've never done it before. I'll probably have my buddy Josh come on the show and we'll do an entire section on e-hookahs and how they work. He's good at what he does with his e-hookah. He's a flavor master. Mixes flavors and shit. And every time he's got his hookah pen, we're just going to town. And it's like it never runs out. Whereas whenever I try to load it, it runs out after 4 or 5 puffs. But it tastes good, so I'm not going to complain. Let's see what to talk about today. What else do we have? We're coming up on the halfway point. Just got onto the 14-minute mark. Wow, it's going to be a really boring show today, guys. I'm sorry. You know what? Let's get into questions, because the one question that I was asked is actually a pretty deep question. The question comes from a listener who's been with me since the beginning. It's actually my girlfriend. She was the one who asked me the question yesterday. She's decided that she doesn't want to remain anonymous. She actually wants you guys to know that she is the one asking me these questions, just because she asks me some pretty deep questions sometimes, and some of them make it on the show, some of them don't. But yesterday she asked me what my biggest fear in life is. And it made me think about a couple of things. One, it makes me think that, it's not something that we've even had a conversation about in our relationship. And two, not many people understand that there's only really one thing.